Erik, do you think they can split the Heisman Trophy in half?
Oh boy, dare I ask why?
Because they should just give half of it to Jeremiah Smith and half of it to Julian Sayin.
I could get behind that. We talked the other day about the Browns being same old song and dance. Well, we're going to talk about the same thing with the Buckeyes, but in the opposite light. We can actually be excited because your Ohio State University Buckeyes just continue to win, continue to plow through opponents, and it's steady as she goes.
It is steady as she goes. They walked into Washington. They took care of business against a team that had some statistical highs. Their offense was pretty not bad. They were averaging 55.7 points per game. Now, obviously, they weren't
Best in
playing
the Big
anyone.
Ten.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't playing anyone crazy those first couple weeks, but they were pretty good nonetheless. Ohio State had some penalties going on early. They are 15th right now in the FBS for penalties. They got to clean that up. But steady as she goes, Julian Sayin has gotten more and more impressive week in and week out. He was 22 for 28 for 208 yards, 2 touchdowns in this game, no turnovers, was super smart with the ball, which I feel like we've had some spurts of him throwing some balls where you scratch your head for an interception. Like I think of that one red zone interception against Grambling State every time we talk about turnovers with Julian Sayin. But overall, steady as she goes. OH, baby.
I think it's funny that you pick out the offense immediately, which I get it. There's studs, there's weapons, but for me, it's the defense. When we talk about the Browns, and I hate to keep comparing it, but we talk about the Browns often on this channel. We talk about how they have a Super Bowl caliber defense, and if only they had an offense to go with it, like even slightly above, like that meme with the stick, do something.
Yeah.
Ohio State's the opposite problem, at least on offense, but they have a defense that, to start the year, I said that they could repeat as national champions, but I prefaced it by saying that it is incredibly tough to do so in the modern NCAA for several reasons, right? NIL has changed the game, the playoff format. To go back to back is going to be really hard. Everything I've seen so far from Ohio State tells me they might just do it. And I know it's early. I know the opponents might not necessarily be the ones that you want, and we have plenty of time to go. But so far, let's just take Washington here. They were 1 for 11 on third downs. They had just 2 field goals. Ohio State has not given up a red zone touchdown the entire season so far. They've
Yeah.
given up 2 total touchdowns, which both were weird ones. Uh, I mean, this defense and other opposing coaches, opposing players, hats off. They're saying that this is a defense that they had. This is like a pro level defense. Like I can't say enough good things. Um, I, I don't even know. Like I'm so happy about the Buckeyes right now.
Yeah, you want to shout out the defense? I'll name drop two guys: Caden Curry, Caden McDonald. Caden McDonald, the big fella. We were joking. We were at our friend's house for the game about how he should do the belly rub. He had 2 sacks, 3 TFLs. Caden Curry had 3 sacks total. OSU has been dominant on defense too. I mean, it is the blue chip, steady as she goes, Ohio State, world famous Buckeyes that we always are. You talk about repeating. I will always pause on the repeat thing just because of how difficult I think it's going to be moving forward with the new college football playoff.
No,
But
I agree.
but in the same breath, to say you don't feel confident or to say you feel some type of way, I mean, the Buckeyes look all of bit as good as they were last year so far. And I know we haven't played anyone crazy yet. The Texas game, we played a super conservative game plan because they were thought of as one of the top teams at the time and new quarterback and blah. Time will tell, but in terms of the eye test right now, 2 thumbs up, an A plus, an S for satisfactory. I don't know everything, all of the yeses.
A plus, yeah, and hats off to Matt Patricia, by the way. When we're talking defense, like Matt, I will literally do anything to keep you with the Buckeyes because man, your scheming is unbelievable. And if I had one thing negative to say about the defense or a hang up, it was the rush for me, getting to the quarterback. But then I look at stats from the Washington game and we sacked him like 7 times. So it does get there and it just wears down over time. But when we talk about the future of this team, and we'll touch on Minnesota, there's not a lot to say about that game, but we will touch on it. But when we talk about the future, I mean, take a look at the top 25. This is why I believe, because when you look at, first of all, there were a lot of mix-ups and changes this week. It looks like Ohio State and Oregon are destined for the Big Ten championship. Oregon does look good, don't get me wrong. But is there anybody on this list that absolutely terrifies you?
No. The
Right.
answer is no, because everyone that goes up and faces a top team is getting beat. And maybe that should make me nervous a little bit because we haven't played. I mean, we have in Texas, don't get me wrong, but we haven't played a top 10 team in what I would call full season form at this point now. Um, but we look like the best team in college football. We look like the best team in the nation in terms of college. Like, I don't know how you can feel any other type of way. Oregon is an exciting matchup for us because I think we do well against them every time we play them.
If we go on to play them, yeah, because we don't have them in the regular season this year. I agree with you. I don't see anybody on this team that makes me pause and go, especially after Penn State. I mean, that was a thriller. Anybody could have won it. I will say, as I always say, James Franklin is a fraud,
I
and
was
he
gonna
even
say,
kind of
wait, wait.
admitted it.
I was gonna say, wait, can we have like our moment real quick? Because they had an opportunity to win the big game against Oregon. And Drew Aller, who is a guy I was high on for his physical,
You were,
attributes,
yeah.
that boy, I'm sorry, he's not a franchise quarterback. And if that is a soundbite that bites me in the ass years down the line, that's totally fine. Because he has not shown me a lick of the intangible clutch gene that you need to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. And James Franklin, you, sir, are a fraud.
Yeah, say it with me. James
James
Franklin
Franklin
is
is
a
a
fraud.
fraud.
I've been beating that drum for a couple years now. Just, not that long ago you were giving me shit for that take, but it's true. They cannot win the big game. He said so himself. He said it's a not it's just facts. I mean, he said that in his presser, but my point is, that game doesn't scare me. Um and it's home. Michigan doesn't scare me. I really think, and that sounds silly knowing what happened for 4 straight years, but I really think that Ryan Day has been unlocked finally. I think he got that monster by what he did in the playoffs and winning the Natty. And I know it hasn't been Michigan yet. He's only beat them once. They dodged us in 20, to be fair. But I think he's gotten that three-headed monster off his back and off his shoulder. And what we've seen is nothing but dominance. You know, there's all those stats. He has not lost but to one unranked team. He's 49-1. That unranked team is Michigan. He has not lost to any team, any Big Ten team besides Michigan and Oregon. Like these stats are we you put
Mind
emphasis on the
boggling.
fact
Yeah.
that, you're sick of fans that they expect wins, blah, blah, blah. But it is boggling to be able to go in, week out, expect a win and get the win. And this year, they're not necessarily those tight ones either. They're winning. Like you go in, the first half goes, okay, maybe this will be tighter. And then they blow it open. I mean, nothing's been out of hand or scary so far this year. And like you said, we haven't played many people yet of note, but this team once again feels different to me.
Yeah, they do 100%. And you're talking about not playing people of note. We can move forward and talk about a team that, unfortunately, I could say is not of note as well that we play this weekend in Minnesota. Obviously, that is a Big Ten matchup. Are we going there? Or are they coming here? I forget.
We are home against Minnesota.
Okay, so they're coming to the horseshoe. We're opened up right now around 22 and a half points, give or take, on the book. And I mean, the tail of the tape is there. Ohio State's offense right now is 36.3 points per game. Minnesota's is already lower than us before they faced the Ohio State defense at 33 and a half. We allow 5.5 points per game right now. They allow 16.3. Our passing offense is more efficient. Our rushing offense is more efficient. Our opponents, what we allow passing wise, more efficient for us. Our
Yeah.
rushing yards allowed. I mean, it's well, actually, that could be a tale of the tape right there because their rushing yards allowed is 65 and a half. Ours is 97.3. If they do have something to hang their hat on, it is the rushing defense. And I forgot that that is the key here. But even in that instance, I'm not afraid to pass the ball with the Ohio State Buckeyes. Are you?
Yeah, I agree with you. First of all, Minnesota's 3-1, and yes, they put up 66 points, but that was against NW State. And
Wait. Are you dissing Northwestern State, the Demons?
yeah, they have a decent logo, I guess, but that's about all they have going for them.
Fair
Uh,
enough.
but they beat Buffalo. Cal beat them. They beat Rutgers. This isn't a very good football team. What's nice about these games, though, is it gives Ohio State a chance to work on some things. If they go into this game and Ryan Day really wants to get tight end sets and passes to the tight ends, they can work on that and not have to necessarily worry. Yes, they're going to have a game plan. They're not going to just completely dismiss Minnesota and not worry about them at all. But these types of games, we want to put more the ball into Bo Jackson's hands more. You get what I'm saying? It allows us to do that, and I expect a pretty dominant win here.
Yeah, and you mentioned Bo Jackson. That was something I wanted to talk about off the top. He had what, 18 carries in that last game, 19 something. He had a fair amount of carries. I think the red shirt question has already been closed. If we want to even have it anymore, that's a bad take on my part. I will admit it right here on air. Uh, still think he's going to end up being the feature back now by the end of the season. Do you disagree?
No, not at all. I said that pretty early that I thought he would move into that number one spot because from the very beginning, he has defined himself as the back. He's just different. And that's not to take anything away. The other two backs are good as well. But he's different. It's like Quinshawn on the Browns. So I do expect him to be in that feature role, but it's nice to have such depth at that position. Even at quarterback, knock on wood, I hope Sayin doesn't go down and we don't deal with injuries, but we kind of have depth there too. Like
Yeah.
across the board, this team, um, from top to bottom, honestly, is constructed in a way that they're built to win championships. They're built to win in both August and in, let's hope it's, very late in December, January. And I don't know. Each week, everything I see is pointing more and more to them being odds-on favorites to continue that run. You never know because they play for a reason, but
They are still the odds-on favorite in terms of the books, right, Eric?
yes, they are most likely to win the national championship right now. Again, doesn't really mean much, obviously, because they weren't last year when they won it all.
Right.
But yeah, as of now, they are favorites.
Yeah. I have a lot of high hopes for this Buckeye team. I think you would be silly not to at this point because even when they started out slow in that Washington game and then they came out at the second half and took care of business. And I feel like it's the same old story, same old song and dance. Let me reference our Browns video from Monday, but that's what it feels like for the Buckeyes. I guess that's just the state of Ohio football right now. Joe Burrow's hurt. The Buckeyes are great at football, and the Browns stink.
Yeah.
Everything is right in the world.
Yeah, for sure. It should be interesting too, and I like this change a lot when we talk about the listen, we're a long ways away from this, I understand. But when we talk about the college football playoff, they did make that change shifting away from awarding first round buys to the four highest ranked conference champions and instead awarding it to the four highest ranked teams overall. I think that's going to make a huge difference
Yeah.
because I can't imagine the Buckeyes not being one of those four ranked teams. So potentially having once again home field advantage and the shoe for a night playoff game. I mean, buddy, we got to try to get in that one.
Yeah, Whew, it's going to be a fun rest of the year for college football and the Buckeyes. I'm looking at Michigan right now. There's still some monkeys on the Ryan Day led Buckeyes back that we need to shake off. But after last season and the momentum going into this season, confidence should be allowed and you should be able to feel that confidence. But I don't know. Maybe it's the Cleveland in me. I need to see it to believe it still at the same time. So let's take care of business and we can breathe easy come the playoffs. Not that we will, but have a little
Right.
bit more motivation there.
By the way, I do want to shout out Minnesota's quarterback, Drake Lindsay, because he has been impressive so far. I think the key here is that Minnesota's run game hasn't been very good. And so we need to force them into passing situations like third and longs, which we're good at. And then our coverage is so confusing to young kids. I think we'll be just fine. I don't think he's going to pick us apart or anything. But I did want to throw it out there. He's a redshirt freshman, and he's thrown for almost 1,000 yards already, 7 touchdowns and just 2 picks. So shout out to Drake Lindsay.
Yeah, and they've had a turnover at the wide receiver position over there as well. I think that's a little bit of what's going on. So as he continues to gel, being a young guy and gel, and hopefully their run game for their sake, I obviously mean, continues to grow, they have a chance to make some noise in years to come. By all means, their defense is very strong, but right now it's obviously Buckeyes in heavy favor for a reason.
Which it'll continue to be, honestly. I mean, I don't expect there to be a change in the conference. It's going to be Ohio State and Oregon ahead of the pack more so than anybody. Maybe USC can catch up, but I don't even expect Michigan to catch up. I mean, it's such a gulf of talent right now at the top end of the conference, um, which is great. I mean, I love that. Don't get me wrong, but it's interesting. Top to bottom, though, and notice I did leave Penn State out of that. Top to bottom, though, um, the Big Ten is the best conference in football. And I know ESPN likes to continue to push the SEC mainly because it airs on ESPN. But it's no doubt in my mind that Big Ten is where it's at right now, and I don't see that changing for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, if you think it's not the Big Ten at this point, you're in denial and you're from the South. Or
Right.
you're an ESPN executive. I mean, it's simple. It's the Big Ten. Ever since the merger, and you had some of these teams like Oregon and Washington and whatnot come in and join the conference. I mean, it's been bar none the hardest, the best, the most entertaining conference in college football. Period.
Yeah, think about that. You added basically the entire Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever you wanted to call it, and you added two more playoff teams. Washington's been a playoff team, and obviously Oregon's been a playoff team. So it is dominant. The only thing that needs changed in the conference is this, and we've talked about it, this big noon kickoff crap with Fox, because I don't know if you noticed they did release that game against number 7 Illinois is going to be a noon kickoff.
Of course it is.
I'm just that frustrates me.
I wish we didn't have our night games be Minnesota and Ohio. Like, can we have one big night game? Like, I feel like everybody wants one big night game. The whiteout for Penn State, it was a big night game, and that was Oregon and Penn State last week, and they lost. But they obviously they want a big mat. Like, it's just so frustrating. Don't send me down the Fox Big Noon kickoff BS rabbit hole yet again. Shout
I
out Urban
also
Meyer though.
I do wish too that Fox could just air it in prime time because Gus Johnson's one of the best callers in football. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I like Kirk Herbstreit. I've given him shit over the years, but I do like him, and I think he's a fairly good dude. Um, but Gus Johnson is one of the all-time greats, and I love when he calls an Ohio State game, and he's the one that came up with the world famous kind of thing. But him in like prime time at 8 p.m. That's giving me chills right now. At noon, yeah,
Same.
it's cool, but it's just it doesn't hit the same.
Yep, I 100% agree with you, E. Let's run it back to the top 25 real quick. There's been a lot of movement going on here. Obviously, Indiana is slowly creeping up there. Is there any team here, especially towards the bottom, that you think could make a surge up to that top 10 before we round out today's show?
Well, let me first give hats off. I think Alabama's starting to come into their own a bit and play some
Yeah.
good football. Um, I didn't expect that from what we saw from them in the beginning of the year, but they're returning to form a bit, and they could be formidable, especially come playoff time. I would never count out Georgia or LSU either. Obviously, they just both dropped. Tennessee, I think, is overrated. I've caught a few of their games. They're not a very good football team, in my opinion. It's funny because I'm Olivia, which is what I call him since he left and went to UCLA. The They basically swapped quarterbacks, and it's a better fit all around at
Yeah.
Tennessee, but they're not a very good football team. And then looking at the rest of it, like I don't believe in Florida State. I think Michigan's terrible. I think Notre Dame's pretty terrible this year. Illinois will look great and then look bad. I mean, they got the brakes beat off them by Indiana, which was interesting. And I don't think Indiana's a great football team. We saw obviously what happened in the playoff last year. So, do I expect a bunch of or surges as you asked? Not really. I think you'll see Alabama move up. I think you might even see Texas move up. Penn State, assuming they can't beat us, is kind of out of the question. Same with Illinois once we beat them. So, and I'm not just assuming. Indiana's an interesting one though because obviously we don't play them this year, so they could surge. But I expect the top three to kind of stay the same. What about you?
Yeah, I'm with you on that for the most part. Indiana's an interesting one to me just because of Fernando Mendoza, a potential quarterback that we should keep our eye on as Browns fans. But overall, and their dismantling of Illinois, that was a crazy scene to watch. But overall, we'll see. I like Florida State. I know they just lost. I forget to who exactly. Can you remind me if you know off the top of your head? It's not pertinent to the take.
They just lost. You mean last week?
On Friday, did they not? Wasn't it Friday night that game?
Yes, it was. They lost to, hold on, don't tell me.
Do 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 do
Uh,
do do do.
Shit,
Don't worry about it.
the
It's no big
overtime
deal.
game.
Yeah, it was the
Virginia.
Virginia, that's correct. Um, I still have faith in them. I like their quarterback a lot. What's his name from I believe he went to Boston College and all of that. So there's some teams here that are still exciting to watch that I think could make a run for those playoff spots, but it remains to be seen. And at the end of the day, if the big OH is still in there, that's all I really care about at the end of the day.
Who do you think, we opened with it, as a joke, but who's odds on favorites right now for the Heisman? Probably Dante Moore,
It's Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza right now. And I think those are both
Carson Beck.
no, Beck isn't up there. It's I think the top 3 are the 2 quarterbacks and then Jeremiah Smith. So
Well, I
and
think okay, it's Dante Moore,
uh-huh,
Ty Simpson, which is Alabama's quarterback, and then
that's true.
Jeremiah Smith,
Gotcha.
and then
Mendoza
Mendoza,
okay, it must have flipped because I think the last
and
time I
then
looked it
Carson
was
Beck.
Beck is up there still.
Mendoza and Carson Beck have the same odds.
Interesting. So the last time I looked, Mendoza was number 2. So that must have been prior to this weekend's happenings because didn't Indiana have a close game as well? I believe they did. Yeah, they won 20-15 against Iowa of all teams.
Yeah, this was as of the 28th. After Beck, you have Trinidad Chambliss at Ole
Yeah.
Miss,
Yep.
and that rounds it out. Jeremiah Smith, though, he could make a surge up.
Hey, I would be totally fine with it. And keep your eye on Julian Sayin. I don't know if this year's the year for him, but I think he will be in those conversations for years to come until he goes to the big NF of L.
My prediction is that one, Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith are actually going to battle it out between themselves next year for the Heisman.
They're both going to be sitting there in scarlet and gray at that beautiful ceremony, and Julian Sayin will probably be the one to lose. But that's just me.
Yeah, but Julian will have his second ring by then, knock on wood, so it'll be okay. Comes out in the wash.
Amen, brother. Amen.
All right, the debate never ends, but the show does for now. We'll see you next time.